Hello everyone, I invite you to an overview of the leading cryptocurrencies. Let's start by checking what is happening on the BTC pair to USDT, taking into account the 4-hour interval. Let's go to the chart and start by marking with blue lines the uptrend channel in which the price has been moving since November 21st. Now, taking into account the entire upward movement, it is worth marking the place of 0.61 fib retracement as a very strong support for BTC. Then using the trend-based fib extension tool, we will check what support we can consider in the near future based on the recent movement. Thus we see that we have the first support at $16,920, the second support at 0.61 FIB is $16,824, the third at $16,680 and the fourth at $16,507. It is also worth noting that the price has now turned back at a strong point of 0.61 fib retracement. Now let's move on to identify strong resistance based on all the downward movement seen in the chart. And here we'll mark the strong resistance at 0.61 fib retracement where the price turned down. However, taking into account the last move, we see that the first resistance from which the BTC price has already bounced once is at $17,103. If we overcome it and the previously determined strong resistance for the entire movement, the price will go higher to the resistance at $17,292. Then $17,455 and $17,609. Let's pay attention to the CHOP index, which indicates that the energy is gaining more and more strength in the 4-hour interval. The MACD indicator indicates a local downtrend, and on the volume we see the predominance of red lights that have more strength than emerging buyers. Now let's move on to the BNB to USDT chart, this time on a 1-day interval. Let's start by marking with white lines the channel of the sideways trend in which the price is moving. Now we will mark the trend line, which, as you can see, the price overcame. Now let's check what support places we should consider for the near future, and as you can see, we have the first support at $284, the second at $262, the third at $244 and the fourth at $227. It is also worth highlighting the zone from $292 to $266, because this is a very strong area of demand and supply for BNB. Now let's move on to determining the resistance points that the price must overcome on its way up. And here we see that the first resistance is at $302, the next resistance is at $312, then $320 and $328. Moving on, we see that the CHOP index indicates that the energy is low but is slowly starting to increase. The MACD indicator indicates that we are close to entering a downtrend, and on the volume we see falling energy, but with a predominance of sellers. Next in today's review is ETH paired with USDT on a one-day timeframe like its predecessor. Let's start by determining the main trend under which the price has been moving since the last ETH. Now it is worth marking with the yellow lines the triangle in which ETH is currently moving. Let's now move on to identifying two very important supports. The first at 0.78 fib retracement, equal to $1,125, and the second support at the last low of $880. Looking the other way, the price has two strong resistance zones. The first zone starts at $1,524 and lasts until $1,920, only when the price breaks above the first zone and makes a positive attempt to attack the second zone from $2,573 to $3,016, the way will open for us towards a new peak. Looking at the CHOP index, we see that we have less and less energy. The MACD indicator indicates a change in the trend to an upward one, and the volume, although low, indicates the predominance of green candles on the buyer's side. As the last in today's statement, we have the XRP chart in a 4-hour time frame. As you can see, the price is moving on the border of the local uptrend line. Let's start with the support line, and as you can see, the first support in the near future is $0.3799. If the support is broken, then the next support is $0.3676, $0.3556, $0.3380, and $0.3159. Now let's move to the resistance line. As you can see, the first resistance is $0.3897. If you manage to break it, the next resistance will be $0.4129, $0.4354, and $0.4678. Looking at the CHOP indicator, we see that in the 4-hour interval, most of the energy has been used. The MACD indicator shows a local downtrend, and the volume is low and selling candles prevail. Technical analysis is provided by a third party, and for informational purposes only. It does not reflect the views of CryptoDaily, nor is it intended to be used as legal, tax, investment, or financial advice.